So I got engaged with my fiance in Puerto Rico a few years ago,
That's
right?
dope.
Thank you. And so I had a little GoPro camera, and like I sent her out for the day to get a massage and stuff. And then I put the camera on top of the TV, and she told me, "Oh, I'm ready. Come pick me up." So, bro, I had the flowers and everything on the bed, bro. It was
That's
amazing,
nice.
right? So I went to go get her. I hit record and I walked out. I went to go get her, and then I brought her back into the room. She opened the door, and she sees all the petals and everything. And bro, it was amazing. She's crying. She said yes.
That's
I look
dope.
at the fucking camera. It wasn't recording the. Bro, the camera stopped recording,
Oh,
bro.
I know you was pissed.
Oh my God. I was like, yo, can we reenact that again? She's like, it's not going to be the same. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck,
no,
dude.
the first is really always the best.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. All right, let's get it. All right. Welcome to another episode of the Back by Nine podcast. This is episode 16. My guest today is a legend in the graffiti world. He definitely inspired me and a whole generation of people in New York City and definitely around the world. I'm honored and I'm excited for this sit down and just to get to know him a little better, and hopefully you guys do as well. The one and only COPE2, right? It's
Yeah,
two.
COPE2, man.
Let's go. Wait, what happened with COPE1? Is there no COPE1?
I mean, I was COPE1 in the beginning, back in like 1980, when my boy wrote COPE with the K.
Okay.
And I was writing COPE with the C.
Oh, so you
And
had
then,
the COPE and then
Yeah, that was it. He wrote KOPE. So
and that was cool to do?
Yeah, it was COPE with the K, and I was COPE with the C.
Okay.
And we were just two wild kids, going to Yonkers from the Bronx, stealing Star Wars figures.
Yeah.
And, going to Gimbals and Child World, Toys R Us. We was
man.
bad kids, like you talking back in 79, 80.
Yeah, whole different
And
world.
a whole different world. And, taking the subway cars and just seeing this number 2 a lot. I was seeing Band 2, and Too Famous.
Where did that come from? Like when people put like their graffiti name and then a number after it.
I guess a lot of when I got more into it, a lot of writers would be like, some of them just lived in that neighborhood or that block. Like you had a Max 183rd, Rex 167,
okay.
Tracy 168.
Yeah.
So a lot of people put numbers because that's where they were from. That's
okay.
TK 170.
Got
and
it.
I just put the 2 because it just COPE. All right, it sounded cool, but I was like,
Yeah.
COPE2. It gave it a little more push.
Okay,
A little more hype in graffiti.
Yes.
And one of my idols was Band 2. He was like killing the insides with tags on the subway cars. And I just loved the way he did the 2. And I said, I'm going to just put a 2.
Yeah. So you just ran with it then.
Yeah, so I'm originally COPE1 and COPE2.
Okay. So did you ever put like COPE1 ever?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did back then. I did. I still do it today sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I'm the original,
Yeah, no,
That's just how it is.
I got to be honest, it's a little weird sitting here in front of you because I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. But back in my day, like our day, well, you're a legend in this shit, like what, 40 plus years in the game, right?
Yeah.
There was no social media. So like
No.
me and my buddies will always, because I would like skip school and go to like Kingsbridge every day and fucking just tag
Kingsbridge,
shit.
yeah.
Dude. And then
grew
like I
up
would
over there.
always see your shit everywhere, but you were a ghost. Like nobody knew who you were. I didn't know how you looked. There was no social media. So you were like a fucking like a unicorn, bro. Like I don't know who this guy is, but he's everywhere. So the fact that I don't know how it happened, but I stumbled upon your page on Instagram and I'm like, this can't be the real Cope. I'm like, there's no way. And then I'm looking through your page. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. So that's when I hit you up, man.
Yeah.
This is dope.
It's been a while, man.
Yeah.
Finally here, we rocking.
Nah, absolutely, man. So let me get like a backstory of you. So you were born in like what, the 60s, late 60s?
Yeah, 68.
How was that growing up in New York at that time?
Man, I was just, it was fun, man. I remember, I think you're talking like when I was probably 5, 6 years old. I think my grandmother and grandfather lived, was it 160 in Elton in the Bronx, South Bronx? It was pretty wild over there. I remember, playing a lot with my cousins, and they would like make go-cars and they would build go-cars.
Oh, they would build them.
I remember there were abandoned buildings everywhere, and
we
were playing them shits. I was little, but I remember it clearly. And I remember in the corner store there was like old Spanish guys playing cards and dominoes and it was just like the real hood stuff.
And like growing up, don't mean to cut you off, but growing up, like when you were looking at these people, Did you like know what they were doing? Like let's say like a drug dealer on the corner. Did you know he was who he was, or you were just like, it is what it is. This is regular life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when you brought up in that, it's normal,
Yeah.
you know, but when you're a kid, it's like you don't really know, only your parents and your, but as you get older and you start to see what's the deal in your neighborhood,
Yeah.
you know, then you know, and eventually you wind up doing it yourself,
Yeah.
you know, because I was a young father. In 1985, I had my son, and I was like, wow, you know, I quit school at 11th
Wait,
grade.
how old were you?
I was, what, 15, 16?
Whoa, dude.
Yeah,
Shit.
so I just said, yo.
Young bloomer, bro. There was no
Yeah.
Netflix at the time, so
Nah, man.
you were
know,
just
and
locked
just
in.
like, yeah, I had a few girlfriends at the time. You
Yeah?
know, when you're a teenager, it's cool. You could have 2, 3 girlfriends, man.
Yeah.
That was the dope shit about it.
Yeah.
You know,
And you feel invincible.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't. You didn't even think about getting a girl pregnant. You were just out wilding, right?
Yeah, no, I had 2 of them, and one of them, you know, wound up keeping which was my son, and then I said, boom, you know, I started working, but it wasn't making enough money, and then I started, you know, selling weed and crack, and it got, you know, crazy. You know, I had to do what I had to do to make my money and pay bills. And
Right.
from a furnished room to an apartment, you know, you build up living in the hood, man.
Absolutely. And so then growing up, did you, prior to you being a graffiti artist or picking up the spray can for the first time, you were like obviously like see other artists on the walls, and then did it like intrigue you? Like what got you into like actually doing graffiti?
Well, really the subway cars.
Oh, yeah?
Because with my mom's, you know, I was always with my mom. She would take me everywhere, like to appointments at the clinic or even welfare, or to see a family or friends. We would take the subway train. I remember taking the 6 train from, you know, I would be in my grandmother's house in the projects, in Bronx River Projects, and she would come pick me up. Because, you know, I always loved being in my grandmother's. Both grandmothers, they both spoiled me.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to live with both of them. Even though my mom's she spoiled me too, but it was something about the grandmothers.
Yeah.
They were just, the love the grandmothers had for all their grandchildren.
It was different,
It's
bro.
just so pure.
Yeah,
It's
it was a different
unbelievable.
type of love.
Yeah, it's insane. It's just pure.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, my moms were like, oh, we're going to go to, you know, this place. And I would take the subway car with her. And you're sitting in the train, you see all these tags.
It was bad back in the day, right?
Yeah.
It was like completely
Oh, yeah,
covered.
you're talking late 70s, you know? So you're sitting on the outside of the, you know, station. You know, you see the trains roll by, and you see big readable letters. You know, I remember seeing Blade,
Yeah.
you know, Comet, Lee. I was like,
And they were big and bold, so you could.
yeah,
It was illegible for you to read it.
and you knew it wasn't like real like advertisement. You know, I asked my mother, what is that? She said, oh, that's graffiti. You're not supposed to do that. So I was just like,
So it was
wow.
always like frowned upon, like don't do that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, the colors, man, when those pieces would roll up on you.
Yeah.
And then I remember just watching Welcome Back Kotter. That was one of my
What is
favorite
that?
shows as a kid. If you look it up, Welcome Back Kotter with John
Okay.
Travolta when he was young.
Oh,
it's like
shit.
a crew of a class, and it's such a dope show. It's so funny from the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like a Good Times, you know. when I
Okay.
used to Good Times. And there's a train that comes by and there's a Peanut 2 on there. So Peanut 2 was one of the guys that became one of my idols too.
Oh,
Because
wow.
when the train's coming in the beginning of the show, and you see a Peanut 2 or Bot 707, but the Peanut 2 stood out so much. I was like, wow.
What was it that stood out? Was it the colors or just the way he like did it?
Yeah, the colors and
Yeah?
just the solid Peanut 2. It was simple, but it was just, you could read it, Peanut.
I feel like you get that from your art now, right? Yours is always readable. Like I know, oh, that's COPE.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the bubble style.
Yes,
Yeah, that's the bubble
yes.
letters, but I could do wild style too.
Okay.
So then I was like, wow. Then when we moved uptown to Meshulah Parkway. I think it was 1979, 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking the neighborhood. You wanted to feel out the neighborhood. You knew up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to this park called Oval Park, and I seen a bunch of tags in there. There was a crew called MG Boys. You know, you see Mark 198, Kit
Okay.
17. And then there was like a schoolyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in there and I seen Peanut 2 in there. I'm like, wait a minute, this is the guy on
the
the
show.
Welcome Back Kotter show. It was insane. You know, that shit blew my mind.
Yeah.
I'm actually standing in front of
that you knew he was
Peanut.
there, you
yeah,
know?
I was like, whoa, this is the dude on the train. Like, wow, that's crazy. He must live around here. And then, you know, as you get older, you start seeing more tags in the neighborhood. Nick 707, Fritos. And I was like, wow, this dude 9 and Russ 75 and Ross and Stitch. And I was those were the tags in that neighborhood. And then when I found out my cousin, he tagged graffiti too, my cousin Chico. And I didn't know until one day he's like, yo, come on, let's take a train ride. So I'm like, and he had this big pilot, it was a pilot marker. Back then it was huge.
It was like a thick marker?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Today it's not big, but back then you were a kid. You're like 12 years old, 13.
You're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, your cousin's like, yo, take a train ride with me. Let's go. And I'm like, train ride? I'm with my cousin. My cousin, he was like my big brother. I always wanted to be around him, chill with him. He was the man on the block and shit. So we took the train. We walked to Woodlawn, right? Because I went to stay in my grandmother's house. She lived a block away from us. We lived on DeKalb. She lived on Rochambeau Avenue.
In Brooklyn?
No, in the Bronx. Uptown, Mashouda Parkway. So it was the last stop of the 4 train.
Got it.
All the way up north in the Bronx. So, he said, let's take a train. So we went to Woodlawn, and I remember we got in the train. We hopped. We walked in the train. Went in the back car. So I'm already looking at inside the train, all the tags. And the doors closed, and I remember him he pulls out his marker, just starts tagging everywhere.
And there's people sitting down?
Nah, the car was empty.
Oh, it was like the last stop?
Yeah, it was the last stop.
Okay.
But the train, we took the train from Woodlawn to Mashouda. So while the train is moving,
he's tagging.
He's just tagging on the seats, on the everything, the doors. I'm like watching him, like that right there really inspired me.
And his tag was what, Chico?
Chico.
Okay.
Chico, yeah. So then I went with him a few times. Then he started writing 80. So I guess it was 1980 because he wrote Chico 80. And that's when I just really started looking at the 4 line and started seeing Mitch 77, PJ, Scene. I remember Big Killer 56 whole cars, Dr. Pepper, Blade. He was hitting the 4 line. Tracy 168, Mark 198. I was like, wow, I was just chilling the last stop of the 4 train, the 4 line, Woodlawn. I would just sit on the platform, and every time the trains would come in, I would just look at the pieces.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And how old were you at this time? You was like
that was about 12.
Like 12?
Yeah, 11, 12, off the back. And I was just like, that's it. And then when my cousin wasn't around, I saw where he stashed the marker. So I would go in his drawer, take his marker, and then I went and did the same
By
thing.
yourself,
I
just go out there?
Yeah, and then I found out later it was called motion tagging. Motion tagging is when the train is moving, you start tagging.
Okay.
So I started doing it. Then I would go back, and then back to my grandmother's, put the marker back, and it just really, my cousin really gave me the actual.
That push to like
really
push
go
to really,
out there. Yeah, because I was really little worried. Like I didn't know how to start doing it until I watched them actually tagging inside the train. Yeah. And then, chilling on my block, all the dudes on the block, all the young kids, did graffiti too.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
It was a big thing in that time,
yeah,
right?
I didn't really when you meet kids on your block and then you start to, oh shit. And back then, I seen kids on my block breakdancing.
Right.
So
it was like the hip hop, the breakdance, the graffiti.
So I was like, wow, this is cool. So I met this kid, Booby, Piz, and my boy Daryl. He wrote Cope with the K.
Okay.
I met him, and this dude, Black, he wrote Copper, Two Bang, Cop. And everybody in the block.
It was a big thing. I feel like if you didn't do graffiti, you were just like, all right, whatever.
Everybody on DeKalb had a tag and did B-boy. So I was just
and were you guys like a clique, or it was just everybody was doing their own thing?
It was a little crew they had, just the kids on DeKalb. Since I moved there, I guess they accepted me. I'm from the block now, and I became cool with everybody, and we would just practice on cardboard. And then I remember my cousin Chico, he was hanging out with this guy called Mark, Mr. Freeze from Rocksteady.
Okay.
He's an OG original Rocksteady, the white guy, Mr. Freeze. And we're still in touch now. And my cousin Chico was really cool with him. And I remember he used to come over to my grandmother's house with my cousin Chico. And next thing you know, he would come through the block. And then he said, I'm going to bring my boys to come through and battle you one day. And then I was like, we wasn't into battling. We would just, I guess he saw we were
with graffiti?
Good. No, battling and b-boying. Because I did graffiti and b-boying.
Oh,
I was doing both.
So you was out doing crazy breakdance moves?
So we're talking this is like now it's 81, 82.
Yeah.
And then next he says, yeah, I'm down with this crew. I think it's a Rocksteady crew at the time.
Okay.
So he brought, I think it was Crazy Legs came through. It was a few of them.
Man, that sounds like a guy you don't want to battle.
Yeah, we did a nice little battle right on the block. It was just a fun battle. And it was like the first time we had a battle and we battled anybody. And then to know that, we wind up battling Rocksteady crew, which them dudes are legends now. They're one of the first B-boys in New York. And from there, I just like, I don't know, to me, graffiti, I just loved graffiti more.
And did it intimidate you like to actually get like the spray cans aside from like being just the marker kind of graffiti artist?
Well, the kids on my block, it was weird because Soph, he was a crazy black kid named Booby. And it was another kid, Piz, Gilbert, and you had Felipe, he wrote Rop. And you had, Two Bang, my boy Bug from DeKalb. Everybody was just like, one day we're chilling, I was smoking weed, everybody smoking blunts and shit.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, we're gonna go paint trains. And I'm like, what? Paint trains?
Trains.
Yeah, like they already have went there. So they're like, yo, we're going to the yard, the 4-yard. So they took me, they were the first time they even took me to the yard, was with them. So I was like, word? It's like, yeah, I'm the Tracy Towers. I was like, Tracy Towers? Tracy Towers is like 3 blocks away, Tracy Towers building. But I didn't know there was a train yard under there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's where the 4 trains were parked. It was a yard.
Underground?
It was a yard under the building.
And was there lights down there?
It's still there. It's still there.
What?
I still go in there once in a while to take pictures and stuff and walk around.
Oh, that's dope.
And so we all went, right? And I didn't have no paint. So I remember Soph gave me a silver and a red. And I remember it was a red devil, because I remember the little red devil guy on the can.
Yeah.
And then he gave me a special cap. He goes, hey, it's a fat cap. I was like,
I heard
what's
the
a fat cap?
caps,
like,
yeah.
He just gave it to me, put it, and he tested it. He goes, hey, you're good now. So I was like, all right, cool. So it's like, just come with us. So we all went, and I'm like, wow, I'm gonna paint a fucking train. I was a little like nervous.
Right.
So hyped at the same time.
Here's your first time hitting it with the paint.
It was like probably like 6, 7 of us, about maybe 10 of us. So we go, and at that time, there was no security guard, booth or nothing. Right there in the front. Yo, I tripped out when I would just walk towards the entrance and looked. You see all the trains just parked. I was like, wow, this is where they parked.
That's like a Toys R Us for a graffiti artist.
That was it. That was it, man. That was my playground for the next few years after that. So they're like, let's go. We all walked in, and we went to the first lane on the right, was the first lane. And next thing you know, I'm just in shock. I got the 2 cans in my pants, and I'm just niggas they just started tagging. I remember this kid, they wrote Soul, S-O-U-L, the Spanish kid, he wrote Soul. I remember him, and everybody just start doing pieces on the outside. I mean, there weren't burners in them, but they were I'm watching them, and they're just doing bubble style, filling it in and tagging. And I remember Booby like, yo, go ahead, man, paint. So I'm like, you sure? He said, paint. I'm like, all right. So I did a little silver and red, like in the corner, my first coat piece.
Yeah.
It was terrible, but it was silver. First. Yeah. So I remember doing the red outline and then filling in silver. And he goes, no. Do the silver first, then the red.
That's beautiful.
Let it dry. And I said, okay. So now I did it. And then everybody's painting, boom. And then I see them going inside, start bombing inside.
Oh, the inside of the train.
Yeah, the inside of the train. I'm like, I'm following them. I'm like,
right.
This shit was so exciting.
You know what's crazy is like back in the day, like you would tag these trains and then like the city didn't even care. Like they would leave it like that, right?
Bro, you know what was crazy? After that, I would cut school to go in there every day just to look at the trains.
Yeah.
Because of the pieces that were still on the trains. You would walk and be standing in front of a Mitch 77 piece.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
A Mark 198 piece.
Yeah.
A Peanut 2 piece. I remember this guy, Too Famous. He had a big Too Famous piece with a character. I remember that clearly. So many dudes had dope pieces, man.
No, I was intrigued.
It was insane. PJ, whole car, Scene. You're talking 1980 now, know, and I'm like, wow, this is just, it was like a playground. I was like so addicted to going in that yard every day.
Yeah.
Every day after
I was
school.
getting that itch as well. Like
just,
in high school, like so in the 9th grade, that's when I really got into it, and I was like cutting school, like I said, and I would just go to different places. I would go to remember 5 Points.
Oh yeah, 5 Point was dope.
That was a good spot.
5 Points was
that
dope.
Was
man. That
like
was
I would
a really
cut
great
and
place.
go there. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to 5 Points, man.
Yeah, that was fresh, man. That was fresh.
Were you cool with Mears?
Yeah, Mears is a good guy. He's always been a great guy.
Yeah.
He tried to make things,
He tried, bro.
For
He tried
everybody.
his best.
The guy, he did everything he can to keep that place rolling. You could go there anytime. If he wasn't there, you just tell him, yo, I'm going to paint. All right, cool. You could do this spot. It's been running. He just...
I met him once.
He's a really genuine guy. And
cool dude.
It's nothing but love and respect for that dude.
Yeah. I felt so bad when they shut that down. But I saw it coming. You know, the gentrification.
Yep, it's business, man.
Oh,
it's the change of life.
You know, like, why couldn't they just leave it up? Because regardless, they gentrified Long Island City, right? But I feel like the people that live there are artsy people. Like, they would like to go and see that and take pictures and stuff of that nature.
They were doing it for a long time.
Right,
people were going down there. It was kind of crazy how they buffed that whole thing. And there was a big lawsuit going on. And they wanted me to be part of it because I had pieces up there.
I remember seeing your pieces up there,
like,
bro.
I don't really care about suing for money, and it's too much. You know, you've been going to court for years for that, and it's just like, for what, you know?
You know what's funny is that yesterday we shot a
much.
music video in Coney Island, and we were just walking around, and I saw one of your pieces, bro.
Oh yeah, I have a whole wall there. They messed it up. I have to go there and fix it.
I see that it's a little messed up, bro.
Yeah, I have to go there and fix it.
It was so ironic because I told them that I was gonna have this podcast with you, and this one right here.
Yep, I have to fix it.
Bro, I was like, I looked at it, I'm like, cold.
It was just been so cold. Like, you can't paint in the cold, but now it's getting a little warm.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go by there, hook it up.
That's fine.
But I might do something new for the spring and summer.
Yeah.
A different style.
It was shut down yesterday, the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to go and shoot, by the rides and everything.
Yeah,
and it
Coney
was
Island's dope. It's so classic.
Yeah.
So like, I love that place.
Yeah, absolutely.
My boy Heck hooked me up with that wall. He got hooked up with the guy from
you got the whole
area.
piece right there.
Yeah, when he said, you want to do a
dude.
wall at Coney Island, and he showed me a picture. I was like, oh shit.
It was just a blank wall?
Yeah, it was just a few walls around there. Because they did a project a few years ago called the Coney Island Walls. And I remember Retna had a wall, and he just called me up and said, yo, come do a throw up over my wall. I'm like, bro, I'm not going to do that. You're bugging. He's like, yo, I don't care. It's my wall. I'll give you, if you want, I'll pay you to do it. I'll split that money.
Yeah.
I think they were paying artists $5,000 to do a wall.
Wow.
Yeah, and they got artists from all over the place.
Oh, wow.
And it was kind of messed up because, I wanted to get down. I didn't even care about the money, but Retna told me, yo, come down, do a throw up. So I went down there, and he said, just do a throw up over my wall right in the middle. I wanted to be like kind of like you came and hit it. He wanted some type of hype, behind it. Yeah. So I did it, and oh man, the dude who curated, Jeffrey Deitch, he was pissed off. He didn't like it. He got upset, and he told Retna that they had to buff it. And Retna, he told me he was arguing with him. He's like, nah, I want the cope there. I did like a nice colorful cope right in the middle of his wall. It looked dope, but Jeffrey didn't want it. And I said, yo, I told him. I said, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, he warned them.
People, they're just, it is what it is. But I caught pics, and it was cool to put on. I still got pics of it. And
no, that's dope.
It is what I wind up doing the whole wall eventually later on, a few years later. It's a whole different people that run it now. So it's cool.
I fuck with that. Yeah, man. And so back to all right. So when you started, hanging out with your clique and doing all these, tags everywhere, did your parents know what you were doing?
My mom's, they knew. They knew. My mom's was cool. She was always supportive. My pops was cool, but he just started getting annoyed because once I got into it so much and started meeting writers, and then I went to the bench called 149th Street, the writers' bench.
Okay.
I met Trap one time. I was inside the train. I met this young little dude, about my age, and I'm looking at him. He's looking out the window, and he got, ink stains on his clothes. I'm like, yo, you write? He goes, yeah, Trap one. I'm like, oh, you write Trap? Because he was up too. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, yo, where you going? And, he's like, oh, I'm going to hit racks. And I'm like, what's racks? And he's like, rack paint, steel paint. I was like, really? So, yo, he took me,
Yeah.
And we went, I don't know, I think it was 86th Street. And I don't even remember, it's been so long. And oh man, when I started going out in the city, oh man, you're talking like 80, 81, 82.
So you started to like expand?
Yeah, but from like 1980, well, I was already going to Yonkers in 80, 81 rack and paint.
Okay.
Because once I started getting into doing pieces with spray paint, that was it. I started rack and paint hardware stores. Yeah, I just started racking. Paint was so easy. They had no cameras.
But where would you go? Where would you get this paint?
Man, you would go to, there was this place called Martin Paint. That shit was the shit, man. Yo,
Yeah?
they had all the Rust-Oleums in there. And then you had True Value Hardware. You had old local hardware stores in the neighborhoods.
It wasn't even a graffiti store. It was
No. There was no graffiti stores. There was one.
Wasn't one called like the Scrapyard or something?
Yeah, that was way later.
Okay, yeah, I'm a little younger.
That was, I mean, you couldn't rack there anyway, but that's where they started selling like graffiti magazines and markers.
Like the caps.
They're the first original, first original.
Does it still exist?
Nah, they just closed down. They closed down not too long ago. It was called Soho's At. That's what it was called first. Then it became Scrapyard.
Got it.
And yeah, they just closed down. They had sold it to someone and the guy passed away and then they tried to run it for a few years, but I guess that rent must be really expensive down there. You know?
Yeah.
If I had the money, I would have kept it alive because I really liked the place.
Yeah.
And
I used to cut school to go there, grab some paint, and then just go tag shit.
Good times, man. That place has been there. When Mark used to run it, Mark was the best. He was a great guy, always a good dude. I remember I was stealing magazines, graffiti mags from Tower Records, and I would bring them the mags. You're talking like in the late 90s, early 90s. I would go to Tower Records. They had all the graffiti mags. That's when graffiti mags were all over Europe. They started coming out with graffiti mags. And I would steal them, stacks, poof, poof, right in my coat. And I would bring them to him, make a few $100.
So he can sell them?
Yeah, and then he would resell them.
Shit,
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, and then Tower Records, I got caught a few times. Then I started racking them in like magazine stores they had in the city. And
life was different back then. There was no cameras, right?
Especially in the early 80s. I mean, yo, you could go in the city, rack 20, 30 cans. Oh, man.
Like nothing, right?
I would rack maybe 15 cans in my Goose, then go put them in bags and stash them like in a garbage can somewhere around the block in an alleyway. Then hit another hardware, 15 cans, boom, boom, boom.
Like you would just like grab them and stuff them?
Yeah, just stuff them and put them down. First, I used to do it like this.
Like in the North Face jackets?
There was a new one. No, we had bubble vests. Bubble vest or bubble coat.
Okay.
I used to have a blue bubble coat or bubble vest.
And it was big enough for you to be able to zipper it up.
Yeah, because they were so puffy and you just line the cans up around your back. You line them up like a wrap. And you have two shirts. One shirt you tuck in you tuck them both in real. And then one you just keep a little hole right here.
Yeah.
And you just slide the cans right in here.
And
or
just
you
push
just
them
go
in.
like this and you slide it and you stack them in your back. For you walk out.
So easy,
if you
bro.
have your shirt, your coat wide open, they don't even think you're stealing. Because the cans start from here all the way to the back. You can't see that. With a bubble coat, you don't show. It doesn't show because the bubble coat's so puffy. For them to actually see it, they have to go up to you and touch you to feel the spray.
Or hear the click, click, click,
and
click,
not
click.
even because the cans were full, but you will walk slow. You would walk slow. So, unless they caught you and they saw you. I mean, I have had fights in stores where
they'll try to
they're like, I see them walking out by the door and I'm like, oh shit. Next I would just try to, and they'll just try to grab you, and you're trying to get away. Your shirt opens, the cans will fall over the floor. I've been through a lot
Pain
of
everywhere.
Oh yeah, fighting, man.
Oh shit.
With the store guys and
now doing like at that age when you was doing like graffiti, did you ever get like chased by cops while doing it?
Oh yeah, hell yeah. In the subway, in the yards, we got raided many times, man. I mean,
in the middle of a piece, and it's like,
does
it hurt you that you don't get to finish it?
I mean, I was so crazy to a point where like, because every time I would do graffiti, I always smoked weed before because it was so exciting. So it's like, let's smoke a blunt. And back then, like 82, 83, I was smoking weed. Then I was taking this thing called mescaline. It's like acid. I was addicted to mescaline.
It'll make you trip out?
Yeah, it make you trip out when you're doing a piece. You don't give it. It just, you had so much, like, you didn't care. You were so brave. You're like, fuck it. So if you did a piece and the cops or even workers, work bums, they call, hey, get the fuck out of here. You would run, sometimes I would usually get on top of the train and jump from train to train, like a little few lanes down until shit calmed down and they broke out. Then I would come back, look at everything, and it's dead, come down and finish it. But sometimes the train would pull out. That was the worst part. If you did a piece and
the train would pull out,
and you
didn't even get to finish it.
Yeah, then you have to chase it. Or sometimes if you're in the foreyard and you're doing a piece and it pulled out, sometimes it will pull out and it would just go out to service in your pieces. Then you got to try to find it a few days later.
Damn.
And sometimes I caught some of them like on a layup. I'm gonna shoot a layup. I did a lot of pieces on shoot a layup. I did pieces on Kingsbridge layup. The layups were cool too in the summertime.
Yeah.
I always loved doing pieces in the summertime in the layups. It was always, you know, quick. Because sometimes you went to the yard, the foreyard was always workers walking around. I'm like, damn, man, it's like.
And they would take their job too serious.
Oh,
and
man,
like,
yes. You know, they would throw rocks at you. Some of them were crazy. You know, some of the workers, they'll try to grab you.
What?
Yeah, they were like really wild. And other yards too. You know, I remember one time, first I went to the ghost yard, was with this kid Cole, COE. And we went to the foreyard to do some pieces. And we're going in and we saw Trap. Trap was in there. And we said, oh, Trap was by himself. So he was about to do a piece. And boom, workers came and they're like, get the fuck out of here. So I was like, damn, we ran, we broke out. So we wanted to paint. I remember it was a summer of 82. And no, it was the summer of 81, as a matter of fact, summer of 81. And there was like, yo, let's go to the ghost yard. It's like, the ghost yard? What the fuck is the ghost yard?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it was 207 yard.
Okay.
On 207th Street. There's a yard on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
On the what is it called? The Deegan Express. If you look on 207, when you cross and you look to the right, there's a train yard. That's the ghost yard. So I was like, what? Why they call it a ghost yard? Trap was like, because at nighttime, it's scary in there. It's by the water and it's scary. Yeah. Writers be vamping you in there. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So I remember it was a Sunday. It was like a Sunday afternoon. We went there. And I remember I had like a two gloss whites and a true blue. And I had a fat cap on the white. And I used the skin. I was just doing throw-ups. And Trap and Cole were doing pieces. And right when they were finished, I did probably about 5, maybe 10 throw-ups all around. The cool thing about the ghost yard, when I went there and I noticed, I said, yo, why there's different trains in here? Because there was 1s in there, there was 2s in there, there was 3s in there,
they
there
had
were
a whole
4s in
different
there.
kinds.
Yeah, there was Ds, 5s, 6s, 7s. I was, and Trap said, oh, this is a workshop train. Like
so
the trains
like
from other lines come and they bring it here. It's called the 207 workshop. They fixed them here. So that's why you would see 2 one-line cars. Then it would be attached to a 7-line car. I'm like, wow.
So in your mind, it was good because now these trains are expanding your name.
Yeah, so I was like, wait a minute.
Into different parts of New York.
That's a cool idea to. So I remember I hit some 5s, I hit some 1s and some 2s. I saw 4s, but I didn't want to hit them because I said, I'll just go into Tracy Towers.
You got those.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's how I started getting up in other lines.
Holy
and then, and then we got chased. Some workers came, and I remember I saw them first, and I told Trap and Cole, yo, there's workers, they're coming. Next you know, the workers came, and they was like, get out of here, you fucking little monkeys. And they literally was trying to grab us. They were trying to grab us. Like, they came towards us close. And we remember Trap and Cole starting to go under the train. I'm like, yo, I'm not going under no fucking train. You bugging. But I was a little skinny nigga, so.
Yeah.
But they said, yeah, just don't touch the 3rd rail. You good. Don't touch nothing. Just go. So we just had to go under the trains, like.
So that 3rd rail is a real thing. Like if you touch it,
I got electrocuted.
Yeah.
I got electrocuted, and my boy today, he's still alive, Gilbert. He's like a kung fu master. If we could run into him right now, the first thing he'll say is like, I saved this guy's life. Because, you know, we were doing pieces on Meshuggah Parkway, me, him, and Soph, right, Booby? And I had filled in the whole piece. I remember I had it was a sunset yellow, a lemon yellow, Rust-Oleum, right? I was going to do a burgundy outline. I started getting to colors. This was like 81.
Yeah.
And the train came. So every time the train came, you would either have to lay under the train, the park train, and just lay there and just chill till the train passes and you come out and finish your piece. Or you go inside the train and wait inside the 2 cars. So they go inside, they go under the train and lay there. So I went under the train. They said, just lay down. So I laid down, and next thing you know, I touched the 3rd rail.
No.
My right arm, touched the 3rd rail. Yo, I just all of a sudden just felt like my whole body completely electrocuted.
And you were sitting there like shaking or something?
Yo, he told me my whole body was like all in what do you call that? He said my whole body was just
like were you shaking or?
Yeah. He said it was like I looked like Frankenstein. He said because I remember.
Shit.
Yeah, he said he saw the volts going through my whole body. Like he thought I was dead. Like it was bugged out because he said I was screaming my mother's name, mommy, like help me, and I didn't even remember that. It was like my whole body was just. The next thing you know, it just stopped. Right.
Oh, so it lasted a while.
Yo, like it was probably. Who knows? 10 seconds.
I mean, at least nothing, severe happened to you because of that.
No, I remember it just stopped, and I was just there, and I felt stiff. Like my arms were stiff. I couldn't really get up.
Holy.
And I remember him and Booby pulling me out, and I was just like, my arms were hard. They were stiff. And he's like, yo, I had to kick you. Like he said he kicked me. And that's how, I got off because he said he
Wait,
kicked
were you
me.
like stuck on it or something?
No, I just tapped it, and my whole body just went like the
Holy
electricity. You ever put your finger in the socket and the shit goes? Bzz?
No.
That little shit hurts.
Yeah.
Imagine your whole body.
Dude, holy
I was shocked.
Shit. No, I mean, I've been shocked before.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And then I remember having a big headache. And I went to the hospital because I didn't feel good. I was feeling really out of it. So the doctor said, man, you're lucky to be alive.
Right.
I went to the emergency room, and I had told my boys, just call my mom, and I told my mom what happened, and she started crying a little bit. She was like, that's why I told you I don't want you in this fucking train. Stop fucking it. And I was like, I didn't really know, and I just don't tell my dad. 'Cause my dad was strict at the time.
Oh, yeah?
But the doctor just kept saying, you're just so lucky to be alive.
I can imagine.
And he was saying, thanks to this kid,
Oh.
And Gilbert, I always
So you think because he hit you, like kind of
Well,
like
that's the
got
thing
you
he
out of
said.
it?
He kicked me because he really didn't know what to do. So he didn't want to, he saw me just, so he said, yo.
And did you have hair at the time?
Yeah.
And was your hair like
Nah,
spiky?
it wasn't. Nah. He said, because he said it happened so fast. It was like not even 10 seconds, but that thing can take you out. So
bro.
Maybe he got to kick me in time before
it really did its thing. Yeah.
But man, dude, I owe him so much. Like,
Man. Yeah, that's craziness.
But yeah, man, that shit was no joke. So, and I knew about the third rail, but
Right. I mean,
didn't
I've
know
heard of it too. I just didn't think it was a
I was
real
gonna
thing.
tap it, and his whole
Right.
body just went. It was like
that's
crazy.
fucking wild,
it was
bro.
fucked up.
And how serious is it to like buff somebody's artwork? How serious was that
It
back then?
depends, man. Like I knew back in the days, like they told me the rules: don't go over nobody, don't go over nobody's shit. They'll fuck you up. Boom, bam, beam. And I never really went over nobody.
Yeah. But what if let's say you have like beef with somebody, and that was a thing back in the day, right? Like, oh fuck this guy. And
Yeah,
then
that's how it starts because
Yeah, right.
they start crossing you out, and it really started with me. I started taking over the 4-line after the guys, before me, like Mitch, Mark 198, Band 2, Tracy 168, Peanut 2. They're from the 70s, and then they stopped around like Mitch, Band 2, Mark 198. These guys already had stopped. Probably 1980, 82. They already slowed down. Then you had a Delta came with Sharp. They started smashing the 4s. I was already doing pieces, but not that much. I was more like trying to hit other lines. I would go to this other yard that was down the block called Bedford Park, and that's where the D and the CC trains were parked. That was an outside yard, and I found that, and that yard was insane. That shit was big. It was bigger than the 4 yard. It's like 2 4 yards, but it's outside. And I remember going in there and seeing so much pieces by Is the Wiz, Quick RTW, Satch. I mean, it was fucking insane. Insane. And that yard was so big and so dope. You can go in there, you will find paint on the floor, spray cans. There was so much shit in there. That was like, it was bugged out because it was a different line. The D went to Coney Island, back then. Because I remember as kids, we used to go deep to Coney Island.
To Coney.
Yeah, to the beach and walk around. And
I was just saying that yesterday. I'm I
that's how
remember
we
going
used
to
to do
Coney
that,
and just like vibing. That's where you like kind of like meet the girls and like, you know.
we were kids too. So the D line was parked there, this the CC trains. And man, I was like, wow. So I started hitting that too. But then this guy Spin came and they started smashing the 4s in 82. And I said, oh, no, fuck that. I'm taking over. I'm taking over. Then I hooked up with my boy Cone and we started smashing it. And I had my own crew at the time and started KD.
Okay.
It was Kids Destroy in 1982 with my boy Ston 3, who passed away. He was my next door neighbor. And we started KD.
Okay.
Kids Destroy. And then we put some of the local kids on the block, which was Spell, Rio, Am, Kai. It was just about 6 of us. And we were Kids Destroy.
And what was like the criteria to be part of the clique? Like you would just have to be like really good?
Nah, man, because we weren't all that good either. We were just starting, but we would just kids on the block that were down. We were homeboys, and that was our little crew, and we was just wanted to get up. We wanted to get our name up and get our crew famous, and that's how it was. And then when I took King of the Four Line with Cone, KD took it over, TNF, we smashed it. Cone, Race 5, Lay, we just killed the fours. And I started going on to other lines. In 84, I started smashing the 2s, the 5s, in 83. When they became white in late 82, 83, me.
Oh, the trains?
Yeah.
Well, so the trains when you started, what, they were red?
No, when I was, they were silver with the blue line. But as you learn more about it, they were really messed up because they were buffed from so many times being buffed, pieces being buffed. The trains started to look terrible. Like they had this rusty look, this old look. And then that's why they put them white, because the trains were bombed. So they put them white. They painted them all white in 82, 83.
Oh, this is the inside of the train?
No, the outside.
Oh, the outside.
The outside.
They were all white?
In 82, 83, the end of 82, you could see it in Star Wars. They talk about it in the documentary Star Wars by Henry Chalfant. They started painting the trains white, the 2s and 5s. And the 4s was the first line in late 83, 84 to get the new trains, which was called the Kawasaki trains from Japan.
And what color were those?
Silver. They were the
those
first
were the
ones.
first silver ones.
Yeah, they were the first. The 4-line was... So all the 04 trains got scrapped, and a lot of them went switched off to the 3-line, the 1s, the 2s, the 5s. They broke them apart and sent them to all different lines.
Okay.
So a lot of my pieces from 83, 84 got split up and went to other lines. And I just started bombing the 1 line. I was doing a lot of pieces on the 1 line. And I was getting a lot of hate and jealousy out of my pieces getting crossed out. That was another thing. You started... when you start writing King and you take over a line, that's it. That's when I really started to find out what was jealousy about.
So you would see like your piece get like buffed a lot?
Yeah, lines through it, no names.
And did you know who? Oh, no names. It was
no
just
names,
buff.
a fake name. They will write somebody's name that you knew you didn't even have beef with. So I'm like, oh man,
Yeah,
and I got pictures of
that.
some of it still.
Yeah,
I got pictures of some of it. So weird. And I was like, damn. So, I was just like, a lot of pieces I didn't get pics of because they were crossed out or they got buffed or they went to another line. I had to chase it down. But man, I got probably like 50% of my pics of all the trains I did.
I was gonna ask, so like when you were doing these pieces back in the day, there was no like cell phones and social media. So would you have like a picture, like a cam, what is it, like Kodak camera? You would take pictures with that?
And how that happened was I went to Henry Chalfant's studio for the first time. Trap took me there, and I met Henry for the first time. And man, this guy had pictures of everything. I was shocked. And I heard that's where the writers would go and hang out with him. And I remember it was like probably the late 82, early 83, and he was working on Subway Art and Star Wars. And I walked in there, and he said, oh, what are you writing? I said, COPE2. He's like, oh, you're COPE2. Hey, I got some pics of some of your trains. I was like,
wow.
Really? I was shocked. And I was like...
And they were good pics.
Yeah, like 35. I still got them. Like, I got the originals that he gave me. So he gave me some with the whole pic. Like, he would catch a pic from far back of the whole train with the buildings behind it.
That's
so,
crazy.
yeah, I was like, wow. I was blown away. I was like, wow, these pictures are perfect. But, he was a professional photographer back then. And then he's like, yeah, you should take pictures of your art, of your I didn't think none of it. Like,
and at first you didn't, right?
No, we did it for fun. It's what we did for fun. It was something we did, and I didn't, but meeting him, he's like, yeah, just get yourself a little Kodak camera and just, so I remember going to Woolworth and I stole the Kodak camera. Yeah, and the film,
you threw it
was
bubble?
so easy, yeah. And I remember they had free developing film. Like, yeah, if you buy the film, they develop it free. You will go at this counter, you put the film in there, you come 2 days later and you just take
And they got the pictures for you.
Yeah, and I was just stealing the film,
dude.
and I just started taking pics of whatever I could, man.
So when cell phones came out with the cameras, that shit blew your mind, right? You're like, oh shit,
man,
this
I
is
was
fucking
like, damn,
simple.
Imagine I had that shit back then.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Like you would put your phone down, video your shit, right?
But
Damn,
you met writers, some writers, man, they had, I remember I met this dude, Sento, he was a cool dude. He had a dope 35 millimeter camera. I met him like, was it 85, 86, this dude already. Some dudes you met on the platform, they had dope cameras already.
Yeah?
Yeah, they would have them nice little 35 millimeter cameras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, these guys are really taking pics of their shit. You know, but to me, I was happy just my piece running through the boroughs.
Yeah, like you knew it's there.
But
Like
now it's, you know, sometimes I run into writers today and they're like, yo, I got a pic of one of your trains. I'm like, really?
That's crazy.
And they'll send it to me and I'm like, wow.
Wow, dude.
That's crazy. I remember doing it, but that's crazy. And then, I'm like, wow, thanks. So I still get pics sometimes from pieces I did in 82, 83.
Nah, it's amazing. And
84, 85, because there was dudes out there, and there's still probably a lot of pics out there of mine that people have.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
And it's so dope when they send me a pic, and they're like, yo, I took a picture of your train, man. This was back in like, or sometimes you'll see it in a book, or some photographer on Instagram now. You could, or you could just Google Subway Graffiti 1980, and trains pop up like crazy.
Yeah, because a lot of those like independent photographers would have these pictures, and now you could see them on the internet.
Yeah, that's the crazy. A lot of like photographers back then, they're not even around, or some of them are still around, but they're really old. They were taking pictures of subway cars. You know, not because of the graffiti, because of the people inside or the station
and
outside.
You just see
and
your
boom, you
shit
see
in
your
the
train
background.
right there. Your piece is like boom. I'm like, oh shit, get the fuck out of here. Check out this pic. That's dope.
Nah, man.
This guy caught my fucking piece. So that's dope when you see those pics.
Yeah, it's amazing
really
to see that the longevity that you've had, you know, doing this. And like, so I know you've had partners with you've done stuff with like Converse, and I've seen your stuff on Shrek the movie, GTA. Like it's crazy. Like what has been your most proud partnership that you've done?
Man, it's tough because, you know, you learn to just be happy and grateful for everything, man. Even the little projects, the big projects, you know, I love them all, man, because you know, I come from nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? I was brought up in the Bronx. You know, I was a father young. You know, my kids' moms was on welfare and my parents were on welfare. We had nothing really, you know, it was a struggle. I had to steal, I had to sell weed, I had to sell drugs to make money, to pay bills. So when you get a project, you know, you take graffiti to another level, and you're doing galleries and you're doing all these big projects with it. My first project, big one, was Converse. I was the first graffiti writer to do Converse. When they came at me, and you know, that was with a girl we knew. She knew them, and we had a meeting, and I got.
So these big people hit you up and like, hey.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's through somebody that works there, or they know somebody, and they're like, in these companies now it's different. Like they just go online and they'll look for graffiti artists from the Bronx or whatever, and if your website pops up, they'll email you.
Okay.
You know, like I got emailed recently, like was in November from Modelo. You know,
oh wow, dude.
And they hit me up and they're like, want to do a project with you, and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. So it's like I just did a big project with Modelo beer, and it should be out soon in like all the supermarkets. You know?
Man,
so I had to do some graffiti
dope,
for them, and they pay you big money.
Absolutely, these companies, bro, they're just the way they just throw money around is insane.
And it's great because a lot of writers, graffiti writers, were able to live off this. You know, and I was blessed to, because I watched people before me do it.
Yeah. Like take it from the streets to the
people,
corporate, you know, like let me get these bags.
I've seen people. I started doing the gallery stuff because I was watching people like before me doing the gallery stuff, like John One. You know, he took it to another level.
Let me ask you, don't mean to cut you off, but when you first started seeing like the guys, your peers, do this, the gallery and all these things, where you're like, oh, yeah, they're a sellout at first.
In the beginning, I mean, when I was young, dudes were already doing galleries in like 83, 84.
Yeah.
You know, I would walk around the Soho and I would run into other writers, and they would give me like a flyer, you know, a little flyer, and it'd be like a art show. And it'd be like, you see the names on it, and you see Crash, Dave,
and you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Futura. I'm like, oh, wow, then what's this canvas, you know? But I wouldn't go to the shows, but I was seeing it already. I was like, wow, what? And then, you know, people are like, they're not doing, a lot of these guys stopped doing trains early, and they went straight onto canvas. And back then, you're still doing trains. You're still racking. You're still doing trains. You're smoking weed. You're like this hardcore, crazy-ass kid.
You don't think about the bigger picture.
No. Yeah, you don't. It's like, what the fuck they doing? Psh, oh, man, these dudes are doing. But then when you get older and you start having kids and the bills come and you got to buy food and
Yeah, you're like, wait, they gave him how much?
Yeah,
I'm in there.
Not only that, you're like getting too old to be getting locked up for this shit too, and you're like, you know, running around train yards and
it gets old.
Yeah, you get to a point like, but it is an addiction. It's really it's a serious addiction.
That adrenaline, right?
Oh, bro,
I can imagine.
especially nowadays in the last 20 years with all the new European paint came out. Oh my God, the fat cap statement. It's just crazy, man. It just went to a level that's just unreal graffiti.
Yeah.
But it was just, you know, it was about 2002, 2001, I think. It was the Christie's auction, the Guernsey's Christie's auction. They were doing a big graffiti auction. Mm-hmm. And I forgot who contacted me and said, yo, you want to do canvases for this auction? I was like, I don't do canvases, dude. I'm still working a normal job. I would do canvases, but for like girls or kids or my friend's kid, you know, yo, can you do their name on a little canvas or whatever, little shit, but nothing like, so I did these 3 canvases, whatever. I didn't think none of it. And I put them in the auction and 2 of them sold. And I think I made like 2,000-3,000. I was shocked. That's what did it right there.
Yeah.
When I saw the check, I was like, wow, because the auction house only takes like 15%. So it wasn't a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's not bad.
But you know, it was such a. And then they had an opening, and they had like all these artists from the show there, and I was like, wow, this shit. Now I see what's up.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Nah,
recently,
that's beautiful.
Recently, I got those 2 pieces back.
Really?
Yeah, my boy from Dirty Pilot, Alan, he had got them from the guy who bought it. Oh, and then he said, yo, check what I got. And I was always wondering who the fuck had them pieces. I said, what? So I traded him some art and some cash, and I got them back. So, and it's like, they say 2001 on it. Wow. So I'm like, get the fuck. So I have them. One of them I had sold.
Speaking of 2001, sorry to cut you off. Where were you during 9/11?
Yo, it's funny. 9/11, I was in the courthouse. What's it called? What's that thing called when you get arrested and they community service? I was sitting in community service.
Picking up leaves or something?
No, I was in the office that were giving me my dates.
Oh, okay.
I had got caught
for graffiti?
Doing graffiti, and that was just giving me community service. And all of a sudden, there was like, you hear like officers running around with the walkie-talkies, and I thought that probably somebody fighting outside.
And you're in the Bronx or in Manhattan?
In the Bronx.
Okay.
And they're like, the courts building is being closed up. The World Trade Center just got blown up. I'm like, what? Because I used to work there. Yeah, I was working there. I used to work in the 80s and the 90s in this company called Crown Reproduction. Yeah. It was like a blueprint company. Okay. And they had partners with some of the companies in the building. So they were hired, like, you know, they would send you to work. It was called a plant office. So you would work there and do the prints and for that company. And I started working in there, and then I remember I was working in the mail room in the World Trade Center. Yeah, and then I had a beef with this guy at the time, was in an 88, or this writer they called J.A. This nigga's like the biggest, to me, he's the biggest graffiti writer in New York. You know, nobody does this guy's the ultimate graffiti writer. To this day, he still just bombs. And we had beef, but we became cool. And then I was looking for a job, and he said, "Yeah, I work in a messenger mailroom place." And he got me a job there, and then I met him and JD1 and another toy. And we became cool, and it was at World Trade Center. And I remember there was a Sam Goodies downstairs. We were racking the fucking tapes.
The CDs,
I
tapes.
was killing them. Walkmans. That's when those yellow Walkmans came out. I think this was about 93.
The anti-skip.
Yeah, it was 93, 94. Oh, I was killing them. CDs, tapes. And then we was racking markers, and then we would go paint racking. We became good friends for many years, you know, and when I heard the place got blown up, I was like,
"You're
what
like,
the
no
fuck?
fucking way."
Get out of here.
So, and your initial thought was like, what? Oh, it was a mistake, or somebody crashed?
Yeah, I didn't think none of it, because I remember they tried to blow it up before.
Right, like in 90s.
It was the other building,
in
the parking lot. And then this time, I wasn't working there at the time though. All this time, I forgot where I was working this time. I don't even remember what the fuck I was working, but I know I was doing community. I was organizing the dates for my community service. So I remember the guy said, "Look, you're gonna have to come back next week," and come back, boom. So I went home, because I lived on, I was living on, was it 170th? Was it 170th and White Place, I think? And I went home real quick.
And you see like people kind of panicking?
Yeah, I put the TV on the news and I see the both.
Oh, at that time, both of them were already
Yeah, both
hit.
of them were already smoke. Like,
But they were still up.
and then they kept running the clips of the planes hitting it.
Okay.
So it's like, oh shit, how
Like
the fuck a plane's gonna crash?
Yeah,
in
you
a
were like
fucking-
this. At the second one,
I was
you're like,
that's
okay,
just
it's not a
setup.
mistake, right?
Yeah, no, it's a setup. Even the first one, because I mean, look at all the buildings in New York, and all right, maybe
Why are you flying that low?
It was just when the second one hit, the first one you could really like, yeah, maybe it was an accident, but the second one, when it just isn't so perfect,
Right.
I was like, wow. And then they're like, we're under attack. You know how the news gets? They get so
Yeah,
exaggerated.
they blow it up.
Yeah, they made
Bro,
it.
I was
it was
in
sad
school.
though because
I had to go home.
What bugged me out was the fucking World Trade Center just went down.
You know, that's
That tripped me
a whole
out.
other conversation. But,
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, I hope nobody's in them fucking buildings.
Bro.
But later on, I heard, securities are assholes because
they were telling people to stay in the second
they
building.
were telling them, the second building
Yeah.
is where people.
Yeah, they
It's
kept
fuck-
telling them, no, it's okay. The first building.
I don't give a shit.
I'm
if
out of
a
there.
building next to my building gets blown up,
Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm out.
I don't care what security guard, what police. I'm getting out the fucking
Man,
building.
so
period.
many
That's
people
it.
died,
And, yeah,
bro.
it's sad. It was sad, and it's
I
still
feel
sad
like,
today.
the fact that we got to witness that in person makes us like strong ass people. Like these kids nowadays don't know what the fuck is going on.
It was terrible, man. That I watched that. I was like, what the hell?
God,
like,
dude.
Jesus. Then
That
they
shit
started
was-
blaming it on
on
this
the
guy
Afghanistan
and that
people.
guy and
Yeah.
the fucking
Yeah,
man.
okay.
That's another story.
That to me was an inside job, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's what they say too,
You know.
because governments.
Oh, I don't trust
They
them.
do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I don't trust. They all lie.
Yeah. It's all
they
an agenda.
say they did that inside job so they can have an excuse to go.
And start war. Yeah, because war brings
You
money.
gotta have an excuse to go somewhere to take over something.
Yeah.
To kill people.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a fucked up world that we live
No,
in.
it is.
Bro.
It's
And
terrible.
just like, at the end of the day, we can't do nothing.
No,
about
it's
it.
terrible, and,
know?
and it's sad. They say life is beautiful. It is, but
It is. It is.
I grew a really bad anxiety of just I really hate human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got to a point because I see the I'm not a perfect person.
Yeah.
But I know common sense and I know what not to do to
energy.
someone, how not to hurt someone. I'm not perfect. I've done crazy shit, but the shit you see out there,
Yeah.
it's just
It makes you
terrible.
open your eyes.
It's just like,
especially when you start to
it's
like
insane.
travel and see different places, you're like, yo.
and the shit people have done to me, like wow, like
Yeah.
the only reason why like I'm here and I'm not in prison is because I love freedom.
Yeah.
And I've traveled the world and I've seen the world and I've been in prison, not bids, but I've been in there, did little skid bids, here and there, and I cannot be in
Man,
there.
I love my freedom.
shit's-
That's why I
that
always
shit's
stay away
another level.
from.
Dude, there's nothing like freedom.
Oh,
you
God.
do not.
Yeah, I don't do nothing illegal because I'm like, I am not going in there, dude. Like, fuck
Let me
no.
tell you, man, dudes.
Bro, I'm 5'7". Like,
It's
I'm
not even that,
going
man.
in
It's
there,
just
bro.
the freedom.
Yeah.
The food is disgusting.
Yeah.
You ain't got no girl, no woman.
Oh no, bro.
It's a whole different
Yeah,
world.
you don't wanna be in
Dudes
there.
are angry every day. You got to
Yeah.
worry about fighting every day.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I've seen shit like, nah, fuck this shit.
Yeah, they say it's supposed to rehabilitate
No,
people,
it
but
doesn't.
I feel like it
doesn't.
makes you worse.
No, it does make you worse
You know?
because I know dudes from now still going in and out of jail. From when I was a kid.
Because they get comfortable, I guess.
Oh, to them it's nothing.
They're living for free. I know
I know
what are they
dudes
gonna
are
do
like,
out here?
I gotta do 3 years. I'll do that shit standing on my head. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't want to do 3 hours, bro.
Dude.
Like, it's not all about, it's bugged out. Some dudes do jail time. They come out, like if they did something really, that they accomplished something in life.
Yeah.
Yo, I just did 5 joints. Like,
Yeah.
really?
I feel like it was something to be proud of.
Fuck,
Yeah,
I'm not.
for
I
them.
don't give a shit if I did 20 years. I'm not. Dude, that shit's terrible to be in there, man. It's just, your whole freedom, your whole life just stops.
Yeah, and you start losing family, friends.
Oh,
your
nobody.
woman.
They'll be there for a while, but then after a while,
The letters stop.
If you got a girl,
Yeah.
that's it. She's done. She's
yeah.
out, and it's only right because they got to live their life.
Yeah, you can't expect a girl to be loyal.
No,
If you're doing a big bid, yeah.
Oh man, I've had. Let me tell you, man. In the early '80s, the mid '80s, the '90s, a lot of my friends, man, I got stacks and shoe boxes of letters from niggas in jail.
Going through it.
I still got all their letters, Polaroids. Thank God a lot of them, they stood out of jail. They're not in jail anymore. They changed. But, dude.
Nah, it's tough.
And I learned from that, you know.
Yeah.
I learned from that, and I had a cousin of mine. He did 15 to 25, you know, and it was for you know, murder. He you know, it wasn't he killed someone that he wasn't even supposed to kill. It was an accident, you know. It's like,
damn.
It's and you know, I went to visit him at times. He wrote me out, and you know, you hear that, and you see like, yo, cuz, stay out of here.
Yeah.
Don't do
like,
this. Don't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned, like, yo, and when you in there, and
you get a taste of that, and you're like, I never
man,
want that
I remember
again.
one time I got caught, or I got into a fight, and I got into a fight at train. Matter of fact, they tried to rob me, some dudes, when I'm fighting like 3 of them, and they tried to rob me for my leather bomber. I had a leather bomber. Next you know, cops came. The guys got away. They did not get arrested, and I had a warrant. 30-day warrant. It was like, this was like in 83. So I had to go to Rikers, right? I had got a bail. I don't know. It was like, I don't know, $2,000. My mother didn't have $2,000 at that time.
Yeah.
So I went to Rikers for the first time. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Rikers. And I used to hear all this crazy shit about it.
Them adolescents were
I was
wild.
like, yeah, this was like 83. So I go in there, oh my God. Psh, bro, you go in there, you know the process, take your clothes off, go through the shower, get your fucking outfit on, boom, whatever. And the next you know, they're sending us to our dorms, and we're on a line, right? So then finally we go inside the dorm, and it's like, yo, there's a fight outside. And I'm like, oh, word, there's a fight already? Jesus. So I look out the window, a big plastic, and I look at it, it's Trap, my boy Trap.
He was in there?
Trap was always in there. That shit was normal to him. He was always in Rikers. And he was catching bids back then. Trap was always... So I see Trap fighting this big, fat black kid, and I'm like, this nigga, that's Trap. That's my... So I felt cool, because I seen him, one of my friends. Because you seen
somebody
Trap.
that you know.
But Trap was throwing down with him. That's, you know, I see the COs break it up, and they grab Trap by his shirt, and they threw him in my dorm. So Trap was like, fuck that, yo. And like, he said, I ain't having it. Then he starts talking to dudes he knew in there. He didn't know I was there, so I'm standing there. I'm like, yo, Trap. He's like, oh, shit, Cope, what the fuck you doing in here? Get the fuck out of here, nigga. So I think, yeah, he had caught racking, because he used to rack like money racks, which is called like coffee, roach spray. We used to rack in the early 80s to make money. We would go in supermarkets and rack roach spray and coffee.
Roach spray?
Roach spray, yeah, man.
And sell that?
And sell that back then.
Oh, that was a big market back in the day.
Yo, and coffee, big Sanka coffees. Yo, this is Woolite, detergent. Wow. And then from there, we stepped up to fucking painkillers. Advils, Tylenols, Bayer. You know, those little boxes. You would get $2 a box. If you racked like a fucking 500 of them shits, whoa, that's $1,000. You know, that was called a big money rack. Then we started doing that back in like 86, 87. I would go out to Jersey, Connecticut with Med, White Boy Med, yeah, and PJ, and yo, man, we would rack Says. We started money racking, and we would make Med was the type of dude, he would not stop till he made $1,000.
At least.
And that was a lot of money in 87.
I can imagine, yeah.
86, 87, if you made $1,000.
Like in a day?
In a day, one day. But it was easy to rack, because they had no cameras or nothing.
Life back in the day was a little wild, man, for sure.
Yeah, man, money racking, that was the shit. But then it was funny, because Trap, you know, he was getting changed. He was getting changed, I think, the next day, and he comes up to me, to my bed, right? And he goes, yo, take this. I'm like, what? And he gives me this fucking long metal shank. I'm like, nigga, I don't want that shit.
He like made one?
Yeah, someone gave it to him, and it was a real serious, like a piece of metal from a window. So I don't know. That shit was, he said, yo,
dude. Hold on to it just in case.
Yeah, he was like, yo, take this, protect yourself. Yo, dudes,
you gotta become an animal in there, bro.
I was like, my man, I'm out of here in like a few days, bro. I'm not trying to. He made it seem like I was gonna be in there for years, but yo, he was looking out. So he gave it to me, but I took it and I just left that shit.
And that's the mistake a lot of people make. Yeah. You go in there for a small bid and you do something crazy. Now you in there for life.
I was like, yo, but I never forget like, when he gave me that. We always talk about it. We laugh about it today. I was like, yo,
bro, I'm about to leave, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, I was supposed to do 30 days, but out of 30 days, you do 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I was like, this nigga gave me a big giant shank.
God.
And then they moved me. I left it. I remember I hit it really under. I told this other kid, yo, you take it if you want. He goes, all right, cool, Spanish kid. Then they switched me to another dorm. And I remember I walked in this dorm. Oh, man, I can't front. There was nothing but black dudes in there.
And back in those times, like, if you were Spanish, you had to be with the Spanish. If you were black.
But I was, I knew how to, I was young, but I'll throw down. And I was like, oh, I'm fucked, man. I'm fucking whatever. And they start staring at you, And I'm looking. Next I walk by this one dude, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Duna. It was this light-skinned black dude from the block. And this dude was like, yo, this dude will knock your shit out. He was like a Mike Tyson, bro.
Okay.
He was mad respected on the block, and that was
he
my
noticed
man.
you.
Yeah, he was like, Nano. That's what they called me, Nano, on the block. I was, what the fuck you doing in here, nigga? You bugging. And, he told everybody, yo, this is my man right here from the block. I was like,
beautiful.
My man, I was like, thank God. Because I was like, yo,
bro.
the way, I'm not going to front, like the way they look at you, like,
man. See, that's my
like they're about
fear,
to just
dude.
set it on you.
There's nothing you can do at that point.
No, and it was their house. It was their, and you start to learn, like, yo, this is their shit. Like, you cannot even fuck around in there because you will get set it on. But, I was there for like probably, I think, a week, and then they called me. And I left from there, went to court. And
shout out
just that
him.
Little taste alone, and then I started getting little ones here and there in Yonkers.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, fuck jail.
Fuck that.
I'm chilling, bro.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing like your freedom, bro. And then traveling the world, and I started traveling the world in 2001, 2002, when my video Kings Destroy came out, and they flew me all around Germany. Man, that was
You're like, there's nothing better than this.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
It was insane to go to Germany. And it was weird because I hated the Germans because of what they did to the Jews. The whole history of it. Yeah. I was like, yo, I don't want to be cool with. But you don't know until you actually meet people and you learn and, you're like, damn. So, my boy's like, yo, this German company wants to, fly you out here. They got stores. It was a hip hop. And this guy, Zepster, he was like an old school guy. He wants to fly you out here and have you do stores, in stores for your video. Kings Destroy. I was like, that's when I was like, damn, this is some really fucking rock star shit now.
Yeah.
So then I started doing graffiti jams, like fly COPE into Italy, Paris, paint at fucking Bagnolet, at here, there. They would pay you $500, $1,000. They pay your flight, your hotel, the food's free. I was like, this shit is life right here.
Yeah.
There's no more chilling on the block, smoking woolers, smoking blunts.
Yeah, word that the cops are gonna come.
None of that. Yeah. Them days were over. Days were.
That's cool that you got to see that contrast.
I got to thank God, man. Sometimes when you see the world, how bad it is there really a God? But then you're like,
again, that is another conversation because
like,
I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion.
It's tough because I don't believe in religions because I believe they're man-made to control people, control women.
Yes, I always say that.
Oh, yeah, that's common sense. I live on common sense. I never...
Yes.
Because, growing up, I was always Catholic. And I would go to church with my grandmother. She would give me money, would throw it in the basket.
How many times they going to pass that basket
Every
around?
Sunday, yeah. But when I started getting older and I started hearing about priests molesting little boys, that's what tripped me out. I said, what?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I have a son.
Yeah.
And then you're hearing these priests and not even going to jail.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, this is
that really fucked me up too.
Yeah, and I was hearing this big story in Boston about churches in Boston and Catholic church, and I'm like, wow,
it happens since the beginning of time. Like the Catholic priests, they used to send knights to go kill people who didn't believe in their religion. Oh no, it's always been a thing.
When you get older, you start to learn and you study and you're like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Religion is not, they're not, because in the end of the day, it's common sense. If there's a God, why not just pray directly to God? Why do you need to be in a religion
follow these rules.
To follow these rules? Follow a book.
Yeah.
No disrespect. A Bible, there's always made a New Testament. New Testament.
It's rewritten a lot of times.
Yeah, the Quran, this, the that. Dude, I respect it, but I'm not going to read something when I feel God lives in your heart. He lives in you. He created you. If you want to pray directly to God.
Amen.
Why? All right, I respect Jesus Christ, okay?
Yeah.
But everybody's the son of God. Maybe there was never a Jesus Christ. Maybe there was, but maybe he was made up to.
I believe he was a dude on the planet, but I don't think he did the things that people were saying.
Because anybody could say anything.
Yeah.
It's like today on the internet, right?
Yeah.
People say so much shit and you believe it.
Yeah.
Because people run with it for months, years.
That lie becomes a real thing.
For years, people said I was a snitch. I was a rat. I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
The minute I started to become big and traveling the world and doing all these big projects and sneakers and it's the worst.
You start to see when the hate
you start to see
come.
who your friends are too, because a lot of it is your friends. And when the social media came and they could make pages about you and make lies, and then the other people who don't like you, they believe it and they'll follow it. Oh, you see, I told you, fuck that nigga, fuck this. And you sit back and you watch all this, you're like, wow, this is
But you can't let it get to you though, you know what I'm saying?
It got to me to a point where it was too much. It was just like, wow, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everything you did, somebody complained about it, or they bitch to the other person, or if you was part of an event, they'll bitch to the curator. Yo, why you got that dude down in your show? He's a rat. He's this. He's that. And then they get pressured, and they're like, yo, I don't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, and I just sit back and watch so much phony shit unfold to a point where, you know, the last few years, people found out it wasn't true, and now everybody's on some like, yo, dude, I apologize. And I'm like,
I mean, the truth will come out.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
But here's the thing too, is like when we start hearing things on the internet that is not true, and then we kind of feed into it, we kind of give the fuel to the fire.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's
so
hard,
sometimes if you just
I
ignore it,
so much shit for so many years. But when you got one dude who really hates you, right? He knows your mother died, and he takes your mother's picture and posts it on social media.
Oh God!
And write some fucked up
that's
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Some people take it too far.
So you get in your car and you got a big knife. You put your gun in the car in case, and you look for this guy and you find him and you're chasing him down the street to try to literally kill this dude.
Yeah.
Because you know, keep my mom's out of it. She's gone.
Yeah.
She's been dead for so long. Why would you post? I wouldn't do that to nobody.
Yeah, some people are just. Fucking
But people
insane,
think it's cool. They're like, oh, yo, you got to be bigger than that. No. It's beyond. You don't do. My mom was dear. My mom was my mom, and she was the best, you know, and that's one thing you don't play with people's,
never,
you know, family members who passed away.
Kids,
you
moms.
keep that shit out of it, you know, and
close
even the
friends.
mob, even the gangsters do that. They just, something like you keep family out of it, you know, and there's many times I have beef with dudes and I would see them with their kids and their girl and I say, oh, look at this spot, let it slide. I'll catch them next time. I could have rolled on them and just, but you know, it's just sometimes it's only graffiti.
Everybody's
it's not
different.
that serious.
Yeah, everybody has different morals. Everybody's, you know, got brought up a little differently. You know what I mean? But but this has been great, man. But if there's one thing that you can, let's say, go back and tell your younger self when you first picked up that spray can, like what would you tell your younger self?
Man, I would tell you, man, you should have took more pictures of your trainers.
Hey, touche.
Because, you know, sometimes, you know, there's this thing like...
It's all in your head.
We all catch it. It's called deja vu, right? Mm-hmm. And that's something that kind of makes me believe in God in the sense that there was times I was on planes, right, going to Japan, you know, going to Russia, and I would catch it. I'm like, wow. Oh, I'm walking in Russia.
You feel like you've been there.
Yeah, I'm in Russia tagging in the street. And, oh, shit, this happened before. So I'm like, wow, why does that happen? Mm-hmm. Why does that? And, you know, I speak to sometimes spiritual people. Like, really, there's some people that are really spiritual.
Fuck yeah.
And they're like, dude, you're walking the path that God has blessed you to walk.
Yeah, like God, everything was already laid out.
God gives you paths. It's up to you to take them. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I had different paths, you know, selling drugs, you know, fighting, graffiti, this, that. You know, and my art was always there.
Did you ever think about writing a book?
Well, I have 3 books out already.
Oh, shit. Well, look at that. I didn't know.
Yeah, I have 3 books out already. The first one was made by a French kid named Oris and Nir.
Oh, dope, man.
In 2003 it came out, 2005 in Paris.
I got to pick these up. Holy shit.
This book was the shit, bro. Let me tell you, the guy who did it, he passed away from cancer, like I think 6 or 8 months after he released my book. And when I met him, he was just like, yo, you're my idol. I want to do a book on you. It's French dude.
That's dope.
I was like, really? She's like, yo. So he sent this boy over to my house and they took I gave him stacks of pics. At the time, I was taking pics of everything. I had a 35 millimeter. You're talking the 90s, I was taking pics, the late 80s. Then I started taking pics of everything, you know? And I had stacks of pics. They took everything. And, yo, dude, when they flew me over, you know, they flew me over to release the book. I'll tell you, man, when he gave me the first copy, was a fresh, brand new copy. It's called COPE2, True Legend. And there's a picture of me in 82 in front of the book, in front of the book. They picked it. And I'm sitting in a train with my bubble vest. Man, when I had that copy and I cried right there. Like it was because you know what he told me? Rest his soul, his heart. He says, I just wanted to complete this before I die. Because he knew he was dying.
He was sick. Wow,
yeah,
that's
he had
crazy thing.
He had four stage cancer, right? And he said, now I can go in peace. When he said that,
crazy.
And I looked at him, the fucking dude made me cry. Yeah. Like it was just that like right there.
The fact that completed him, you know.
And sometimes things like that are blessed through God. I believe that.
Yeah.
You know, I think God just can't control everything.
Bro, you don't know how many people you've inspired, bro. Like
you can't. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even know.
Now, because of social media,
you hear it a lot.
Every day, I get DMs. Yo, you my hero. It's really overwhelming.
Yeah.
It makes me really, really sometimes happy and sad.
Yeah.
You know, because since I was a kid, I suffered from really mental depression. I never knew that until I got older and older. And I always found out when I was on a standstill, I would get so sad and down. Like I didn't want to be around nobody. I had to do something. So I like, let's say I had to go walk around the city and steal spray paint. Go spray, go do a train. I had to keep busy. I had to smoke weed. If you're sitting down and the minute I sat down or did nothing, I just felt this total thing of just sadness. But I was a kid. I didn't really.
You didn't know, it wasn't.
But then I got older. It got really bad, and I found out my mother suffered from depression. She had really bad depression. That's why she went on to doing drugs, alcohol, and she passed away from it. And I got it from her. And it's in the family. You know, sometimes you get stuff from all the family. So, you know, I was getting these crazy episodes and flipping out and like, wow. And it got to a point I had to see a doctor and he diagnosed me. And, you know, I've been on medication for many years. But, you know, I think everybody ain't all there in the head,
bro.
We all gotta say that. We all got loose screws.
Everybody needs a therapist.
No, mine was bad. It was really bad. And I thought it was just normal sadness. But it got to a point, it was really... Yo, this shit's not normal. This is too much. You know, and you ain't, and it gets to a point sometimes you don't want to take a shower for a week. You're like, that's bad. From wanting to take 2 showers a day to not taking a shower for a week.
Yeah, no,
it was getting bad. Those type of depressions, you didn't want to eat. Yeah. You were just like, just want to sleep all day. Those were tough.
So you had like those moments in your life. So I had to do something.
And graffiti was always there, and it kind of saved me. And then when I started traveling the world, I was like, wow. You know, because you pray, you know? You're like, this is all you have. If praying's going to work, it's going to work. If not, it's not going to work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's people that pray and nothing ever happens. Who knows? Maybe God, if there's a God, and I believe there is, because the way life is created around the world is just so perfect. Yeah. But I think human beings are the problem. You know, the way...
Oh, yeah, we're shitty, bro. Like,
the way
we destroy the earth.
We run the planet and do things to
Greed.
Others.
It's
terrible. And the thing that bugs me, I was like, why you do this? You're not going to live forever. Why would you do this?
Sometimes I just stop and I'm like, what's the purpose of all this shit? Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's like...
sad. It's sad. The thing they do to other people and animals. And
oh, God.
The way animals suffer and it gets slaughtered and all these slaughterhouses, that shit, I couldn't do it no more. Like, I've been doing this for years since a kid, but... You grow up eating pork chops, steaks, your mom's, your grandmother making all that great food, Spanish food.
Smells good and tastes good, but
trust me,
but I get where you're coming from.
You know where it's coming from. Yeah. They had to kill an animal. And you think it's normal, but as you get older, you watch it. It's on social media. Yeah. And it's to a point like, I can't do it. I just can't do it no more.
So you became a vegan?
I started eating vegan. I just stopped eating meat over a year now. And I can't.
But does it make you feel physically good too?
Dude, I can't front because, you know, I had got the type 2 diabetes. I was 345 pounds. The doctor was like, you got to do something, buddy. Yeah. This is not good. Yeah. And it was one day I couldn't even move. I was walking. I couldn't even go up 3 steps. I was out of breath. Shit. I was like, yo, what the fuck? I thought I had the flu. But I remember it was summertime. And I felt real tired, exhausted. Like, I remember I came from work, but I was like, yo, this is bugged out. Yo, I remember I went to the emergency room and they checked my sugar. They're like, you got diabetes. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, your sugar level's like 1,000. I was like, is that good? I didn't know nothing about diabetes.
Yeah.
They was like, listen, if you wouldn't have came in here, you would have died from a diabetic coma. I was like, get the fuck. I was shocked.
So he gave you like a diet plan and all that?
Oh, yeah.
Medicine.
From there, this was about maybe a good 15 years ago, probably. And yo, that was shocking, bro. I was like, and that's from eating all the crap.
Yeah.
McDonald's, fucking fried chicken.
A lot of fried food. And then we're Latinos,
Yeah,
so our
the food home
the
too.
food at home is greasy. And,
you're at your job and you go to McDonald's or you go get pizza.
It's quick food.
Yeah, it's quick food.
Yeah.
You're still young, you're growing, or you're still young and strong, but you don't realize how bad that shit is doing to your body.
Yeah.
In time, your body could take so much and say, yo, dude, chill. Yeah. Like, I can't eat this
I'm afraid to get to that point. I have high cholesterol and I've been known
it got to that point,
It's just food is so good, bro.
Alcohol, of course, and alcohol too. I used to drink. The clubs in the 80s, the 90s. I went to the clubs when the clubs were the clubs.
Yeah, not anymore. People on their phones.
The Tunnel, Roxy's, the Fun House.
So you met like a lot of like celebrities back in those days,
bro.
And stuff.
I did, bro. Like, man, I hung out with the dopest dudes.
Yeah.
I remember this guy Mike. I met in my old job. He was bisexual, but he was a strong dude. You couldn't tell he was gay. And this guy took me to the limelight for the first time. And oh my God, this guy, like, we walked in there and all of a sudden I see like 5 gay dudes jump on him. Mike! I'm like, yo, dude, what's up with that?
Whoa, relax,
yeah,
dude.
and he's like, yo, don't worry, they're my friends, you know? Because Mike was the type of dude, he liked guys and girls.
Yeah.
He was a crazy motherfucker. This dude was a sick dude. But he was so funny and fun to hang with. He was so funny. He was like the life of the party. And then, that fucking song Vogue came on, the Madonna.
That was like the anthem.
Yo, them dudes would just do. I would stand there, fucking coked up on acid, watching all these dudes doing Vogue.
Yeah.
It was so dope. You know,
different
the limelight
times,
was
man.
It was dope, man.
Yeah.
And then you meet these people, and I always had a phobia about gay people because I didn't really like.
Because growing up,
you're like I'm all about girls. You
yeah.
know, I'm a type of dude I have to have 2-3 girls.
Yeah.
It was I was like, I have.
And then when you see like that type of stuff when you're growing up, it's like, whoa.
And all his friends always try to hit on me, and he would tell them, no, chill.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was like, I'll fuck you up.
Right.
I would beat your shit down. I was bigger, stronger.
Yeah.
But he was like, no, Cope, chill. They're good people. And then when you get to know them, and some of them are really, really great people.
Yeah, nah, bro. I've
They're
met a
offering
lot
you
of
drinks.
good people.
They're pulling out a big fucking, aluminum foil of cocaine, and like, you want some? I'm like, wow. They just
They know how to have a good time.
Exactly. And
say
next,
that.
I just started going to all the clubs. I party where the real clubs were, and I've chilled with the real. I'm talking about even big time dudes, crazy dudes. They would go in clubs and rent a table and have bottles.
I can imagine you got like stories.
Oh
for days,
man, dude, I've seen and done it all, man.
Yeah. Man, but it's a beautiful thing to see your longevity in the game, and this was a pleasure. Sitting down and getting to hear all these cool stories, bro.
Man, we could go on all day.
I could imagine, bro. You have stories for days. And again, this is an honor, man. Like I said, I grew up seeing your pieces everywhere, and I was super inspired.
Thanks, man.
I was always very artistic and into like graffiti and all that. So this is definitely a special episode for me, man. And thank you for coming out, man. I appreciate it.
Let's do it again, man. This was
always,
beautiful.
man.
You're a good guy, and
thank you.
Thanks to everyone out there who supports me.
Yes. And what do you have going on? Like, let people know if you have anything going on this year.
Man. This year I got a bunch of, shows and big exhibitions. I'm doing a collaboration with a big female artist from Paris named Lady K.
Beautiful.
I got to go over there. We're doing canvas, about 25 canvases together. We're going to do a big show. And that'll be big. And so a lot of other stuff I'm working on.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I don't really like talking about it.
Yeah.
I like to just let it come
let
out.
it go, yeah.
And let the haters
But I'll
hate.
definitely put, right.
And let the real people support you
yeah.
and be happy for you, because that's what it's about. Be happy for someone. I was happy to see a lot of my friends get big. Yeah. And that's what I did. I watched my boy John 1. John 1, he's Picasso in fucking Paris.
Yeah.
And we used to get dusted and go to the fun house. This guy was wasted. He went to Paris in '85 and I saved his life.
Yeah.
He became one of the biggest artists over there.
You got to be happy for people's success.
And I watched that. He's the one who really inspired me.
Yeah.
Because when I did graffiti events in Paris, he would pop up, yo, do paintings, bro, do this. I was like, damn, I don't know who's gonna buy a Coke bubble. He's like, yo, Coke, bro, you fucking from the new nigga, bro.
Well,
like,
now
he
you know.
pushed me. He
Yeah.
really pushed me, and I love that dude.
Yeah.
He recently just came to New York, and he just gave me 2 little canvases.
There you go.
I was willing to trade, and that dude is the best, man.
Yeah.
If you know John 1,
John Shout out to John
156 is the best. I've never met any dude as genuine as him. He's just an amazing guy.
That's dope.
He's just gets along with everybody. He is the life of a party wherever you go. He's just a great person.
It's good to have people like that around, for sure.
Shout out to all my kids,
Shout
my
out to
grandkids.
kids. Yeah, shout out to everybody,
And shout out to you, man.
And thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. And like I said, this is so dope. And I'm definitely gonna put like the links of your stuff on the description,
Dope.
all that. You know, have people. And if you guys definitely are like into like the graffiti, definitely do your research and like see the beginning of everything and how important he was to the culture, man. So again, thank you. Appreciate
Peace.
you, bro. My man.
My brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Dope, bro.